Okay. You can also don't think of like girlfriend, boyfriend, but just a relationship is someone that you interact with on a regular basis. Okay, so you have an effect on them, they have an effect on you. So we say a mathematical relationship is a correspondence, so some sort of communication between two sets. And the two sets are the domain and the range. Have you heard those two words before? Domain and range? A few yeses. Do you remember what they are? That's okay. Yeah?
Range the numbers between certain numbers.
Okay, yes. Now, range, what that sort of range is a statistical range. So, and that is like the maximum minus the minimum. So that is referred to as the range, but that's more statistical range. When we're dealing with the set of the range, we'll go over that here. Okay, so the domain. We're going to think of this as the elements that are the questions. If you push the accelerator 1 inch, that's your question. What would happen? That's your question. That would be part of the domain. If you are 8 years old, how tall are you? How tall are you? That's the question. So being 8 years old would be the question. Let me zoom this up. See that better now? Okay, so the domain is the elements that are going to be the questions. When we graph these and talk about this, these are going to be the x values. So these are going to be the x values when we look at an ordered pair. And is the x-intercept, pull in your science class, are the x values the independent variable or the dependent variable? Independent or dependent? Independent. Okay, so independent, x values are the independent ones because they're the ones that you choose. Okay, x values are the independent variable, they're the ones that you choose. So we are choosing to ask, how tall are you when you're 8 years old? 8 would be that independent variable. Okay, when you push the accelerator 1 inch, how fast are you going? That 1 inch would be the independent variable, you chose it, that is the question. Okay, the x values are the independent variable. So that makes the range the elements that are the answers. The elements that are the answers. So when you're 8 years old, you were 4'8". So that 4'8" would be the answer. That's part of the range. That's the answer. Okay. So if the domain is the x values, the range would be the y values. So if x was the independent variable, y is the dependent. How I always remembered those is I said y depend on x. As in, why should you depend on your ex, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Okay, so y depends on x. So y is the dependent variable on the x variable, which is the independent variable. Okay, so y depend on x. Y is the dependent. Because you can only find the y value, you can only find your answer if you know the question. Okay, remember the y values are the answers. You can only find your answer if you know what the question is. Okay, this isn't Jeopardy where you get the answer first, you have to come up with the question. Okay. Anyone watch Jeopardy? Okay. I like that show. Okay. So in a relation, a question, remember that's your domain, can have multiple answers, which is the range. So in a relation, a question, which is a domain, can have multiple answers, which is a range. So if I ask the question, what are the names of the students in third hour algebra 2 class? Would I have multiple answers? Okay, because there's multiple ones. Okay. If I ask, what is the price of gasoline, regular, unleaded, in Newton? Could I have multiple answers? If I ask, what's your favorite candy bar? Okay. As a collection, would I have multiple answers? If I ask, what's the favorite candy bar of third hour algebra 2? Okay. So those are all examples of what are relations. We're going to move into something mathematically what they call a function. Now a function is more specific relation where you have one answer for each question. So if I say, what's the price of regular unleaded gasoline in Gotham? How many answers do we have? One. One specific answer. It's a clear answer, it's a definite answer, that makes it a function. Okay? If I ask, what is Nate Zogelman's middle name? How many answers would I get? One, unless you have two middle names. Nope, okay, something. That happens. I have a cousin. Not that it's a bad thing. But, okay, so we're going to say a specific type of relation where each element in the domain has only one answer is called a function. First three letters of function are fun. So functions are fun. Okay. So it's kind of, how good are you with your shapes? You know what a quadrilateral is? Okay, quadrilateral has how many sides? 4. Okay. So quadrilateral, are there more specific shapes under the heading of quadrilateral? Quadrilateral is just 4 sides. So what's an example of a more specific 4-sided shape? Square. Well, rhombus, rectangle, trapezoid, okay, parallelogram. There you go. Okay, so a relationship is kind of like that overall heading. Then underneath relationship, you have a function. A function is a specific type of relationship. Okay. So it can only have one answer. So if there's 2 answers to something, it is not considered a function. Okay, a little bit more with this, and we'll get to some examples of what your questions will look like. A one-to-one function. In order to draw a picture after we write this out so we can see this. Every element in the domain corresponds to a different element in the range. That's more the mathy word there. Every element in the domain corresponds to a different element in the range. So we can also say no two questions have the same answer. No two questions have the same answer. So if it's a one-to-one function, that's even more specific. No two questions have the same answers. You hand tired, Jeff? Okay, we'll get it back in shape. So we're going to make a bubble chart here. So I'm going to make a domain. And domain is going to be the letters A, B, C, and D. And then I'm going to show the range. So this is a relationship for my secret code. That's already 12, 16. Let's do one more, 20. Stick one more in there. Yep, throwing me off there. Oh, how about that? Okay, so I got my domain. We could make this for the whole alphabet if we wanted to. So this relationship, right now, I just have a relationship. It's going to show what the letter is, and then it's going to match to what the number is for my code. So I'm going to say A is going to map to 12. And B is 4, C is 8, and D is 20. So that way the NSA can't crack it. Okay. Now, so the domain is my question. Does every element of the domain go to a different value over here in the range? Okay. So if I say, what's the value for B? How many answers could you give me? One. So this is why it's called a one-to-one function. Every element here goes to one element over here. Okay. Now don't write this. It's going to want a pencil. I'm going to write, and I'll erase it. So something that wouldn't be a one-to-one function would be is if I did that. Because now how many arrows do I have going from C? 2. So if I say, what's the number for C, how many answers could you give me? Is it one-to-one? No. No. Okay. So that's what they call into one function. Okay. So the next one, we're almost there. You guys are doing good. We will work on this tomorrow because we have a few more things to get to. Okay, an onto function, what they call onto. I think it's a weird one, but so every element in the range